So 2 Kings chapter 20, we talked about prayer, power in prayer. Why are we talking about prayer? It is because we found it necessary again that God is the one who can resolve issues for us. God is the one who is willing to rebuke the devil, to stop him from doing what he's been doing. So in in 2 Kings 20, it's a long passage, but we're not reading everything. So we will start from, the reason is that we want to tie in two kings, King Hezekiah and King Manasseh. And since it's long, let's see. All right, I will read some of the verses just to quickly go over it. So, 2 Kings chapter 20, starting from verse 20. All right, I'll start from verse 20, then I will go over chapter 21. All right, 20 to 18. So 2 Kings chapter 20, starting from 20, then 21 to verse 18. So let's hear what the Word of God says, and then we can understand a little bit of what we're trying to say. And so in 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 20 says, "And the rest of the acts of Hezekiah, and all his might, and how he made a pool and a conduit, and brought water into the city, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah?" 21. "And Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and Manasseh his son reigned in his stead." That's just to help us. Then 21. So just to help us understand, since we couldn't read the whole of Hezekiah 20, the context is that Hezekiah was, should I use the word, a good king and a spiritual king, and he did a lot of good spiritually, and he encouraged the people to serve God, even though he did a little few things, but then generally, overall, he is known as a very good king. All right, so verse 21 again, "And King Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and Manasseh his son reigned in his stead." Now 21, "Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 55 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hephzibah." Verse 2, "And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel." Verse 3, "For he built up again the high places," which means idol worshipers places, "which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal the idol, and made a grove, as did Ahab king of Israel, and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served them. And he built altars," verse 4, "and he built altars," which means idol altars, "in the house of the Lord, of which the Lord said, In Jerusalem will I put my name." 5, "And he built altars for all the hosts of heaven in the 2 courts of the house of the Lord." Isn't it abomination to even bring idols into the sanctuary, into the temple? Well, verse 5, "And he built altars for all the hosts of heaven in the 2 courts of the house of the Lord." 6, "And he made his son pass through the fire, and observe times, and used enchantments, and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. He brought much wickedness in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. And verse 7, well, let me just come on, because if I pause here to explain it to verse 7, and he set a graven image of the grove that he had made in the house of which the Lord said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever. 8, neither will I make the feet of Israel move anymore out of the land which I gave their fathers, only if they will observe to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the law that my servant Moses commanded them. Verse 9, but they hearkened not, and Manasseh seduced them to do more evil than did the nations whom the Lord destroyed before the children of Israel. Verse 10, and the Lord spake by his servants the prophets, saying, verse 11, because Manasseh king of Judah had done these abominations, and had done wickedly above all that the Amorites and did, which were before him, and had made Judah also to sin with his idols. 12, therefore thus said the Lord God of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whosoever heareth of it, both his ears shall tingle. 13, and I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria and the plummet of the house of Ahab, and I will wipe Jerusalem as a man wipeth a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down. 14, and I will forsake the remnant of my inheritance, and deliver them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies. 15, because they have done that which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger since the day their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even unto this day. 16, moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another, beside his sin wherewith he made Judah to sin in doing that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. 17, now the rest of the acts of Manasseh, and all that he did, and his sin that he sinned, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? 18, and Manasseh slept with his fathers, and was buried in the garden of his own house, in the garden of Uzzah, and Ammon his son reigned in his stead. So, amen. That is not all. The whole idea of reading this is just to explain the gravity of the sin that Manasseh caused. Manasseh was the son of a godly king, and he began to rule when he was 12 years old. But it is said that he did more evil than all of those who had followed before him. He became idol worshiper. He brought idols into the temple. He did all these evil things, and he even sacrificed his son into fire. And he made his son pass through the fire. What does it mean? He burnt his sons, his children. He sacrificed them to idols, and observed the times and all these enchantments and all these things. He did more wickedness than anybody else. And that's why we have to pray for our children. Look at what well, we didn't go about what his father did, but because we were just trying to focus on Manasseh. So his evil thing that he did was so much that it was just terrible. But that is not the end of the story. The fact is that in spite of what evil things he did evil. He was so much